I'm delighted now to welcome director Dominic Moll to the 55th BFI London Film Festival. Dominic, thanks ever so much for talking to DVD Outsider.
Well, thank you.
Now, we are here today, of course, to talk about The Monk, but before we do so, I'm curious to know as to whether you've seen Lars von Trier's Melancholia. The reason I ask is because Charlotte Rampling and Charlotte Gainsbourg were both leads in your previous film, Lemming, and if you've seen the film, I'd like to know what you thought about their performances and the characters they played.
Yes, I did see Melancholia, and I was very impressed by it, although I'm not always a big fan of Lars von Trier's worldview and pessimism, but I thought this was really impressive, and I thought that, well, especially Charlotte Gainsbourg was very impressive, as she usually is, and also Charlotte Rampling, although she has a smaller part, and it's maybe a performance that it's a part that's close to other things that she's played, so it's less surprising, I think. I mean, she does it very, very well, but I think that what Charlotte Gainsbourg is doing is probably more impressive and more surprising.
I also wondered if during the shooting of Lemming you had David Lynch's Mulholland Drive in mind. I say this because the location and the house of that film, to me, it felt very American. It looked as though it could have been nestled up somewhere in the Hollywood Hills. And the sound design is also very Lynchian.
Well, I think as a filmmaker, it's difficult to be indifferent to David Lynch's work and Mulholland Drive in particular. So I know that then it's always difficult to say, you know, to how far something has influenced you or not, but I think yes, it has definitely made a strong impression on me, and has certainly influenced me. And as far as the choice of the house is concerned, it's not as much as it's true that I was looking for something that was not typically French, but that could be also in another country.
What do you think is key to successful sound design? It's a feature that's prominent in all three of your films, and a lot of the films that you watch that are aspiring to be psychological, the sound design is often an overbearing distraction, or it's filling in for substance that just isn't there.
I think what's important is that, I mean, for me, is to because I think that now it's easy to make strange sounds and to have suddenly a wall in the background to signify that there is strangeness, etc. And sometimes it works very well. But what interests me most is to use everyday sounds and to use them in a strange way, and then to bring strangeness to a scene, like for instance well, in Lemming, when we have a dialogue scene between the two Charlottes, and you hear the coffee machine gargle in the background, and which is something you almost don't hear, but it is there, or the way you will place the cry of a bird at a certain point. Things like that are very important, and I'm very lucky to work with a sound editor, sound designer, well, who's worked on Harry Lemming and The Monk, who is somebody who is very gifted for finding the little things that you can turn into strange sounds.
Your first two films, Harry, He's Here to Help and Lemming, were very contemporary. So what's the attraction of doing a period piece, particularly when they can be notoriously hard to finance when the source material isn't well known?
I think that what attracted me first was really the idea of being able to to play with all the elements, those gothic and surreal elements, and to be able to have set a scene in a graveyard and to have ghosts and and strange animals and all those and the devil and all those supernatural things, and the fact that the whole atmosphere of Matthew Lewis's novel, which is so strange and so strong, and which comes completely out of his imagination, because I've always been a bit reluctant to the idea of period films, because I felt that it was you had to respect too many things because the historical facts or whatever, and there you're completely free from all that, because and there are many historical absurdities in the novel and also in the film, because that's not the point. The point is to create this strange, surreal, dreamlike atmosphere where the characters can evolve and where all those things can happen. And so I think the first thing that attracted me towards it was that visual richness, and that for me was very cinematographic, and then also of course the character of Ambrosio, and although he changed quite a bit from what he is in the novel, where he is in the novel. Matthew Lewis uses him to criticize the hypocrisy of Catholicism, and so he's very despicable from the start, a coward, a hypocrite, doesn't really believe in what he says or what he does, which was for me less interesting, and I really wanted to turn into someone who has strong convictions, who has strong beliefs, and whose faith is real, and so we start from there with someone with strong beliefs, and little by little his convictions will crumble apart.
Well, you said as a starting point he starts with strong beliefs. Interestingly, I didn't see that in the opening shot. There is already this sense of conflict on Vincent Cassel's face. He seems to carry the burden of other people's sins very heavily on his shoulders, and to me it felt almost as if his faith was already on very shaky ground from the moment we see him.
Yes, but what you're saying about him carrying other people's sins or weaknesses is for me, that's what I mean by being convinced by what he's doing. It's not just something superficial. He really lives his faith, and but it's true that you already feel that it could break apart, and also because you have his the person who confesses himself in front of him is already talking about things like incest and sexual abuse that will happen to him later. So you feel that there's this danger that is already present at that moment.
Vincent Cassel is a dangerously unpredictable performer, a bit of an eyebrow-raising choice to play a pious monk, I thought.
Well, yes, it's true, and that's what I thought was interesting in choosing him, because he, well, most parts I've seen him in, he plays very pushy characters who don't have any doubts, and who kill first and ask questions afterwards, and he's somebody who's full of energy and who brings all that physical energy into the parts he plays, and that's why I thought it was interesting and challenging to bring him to contain all this energy and to play it in a very restrained way, because that has a lot to do with the characters who has put the religion as if it was a lid on all his emotions and pulsions, and I felt that if we could bring Vincent to do that, to control all this, it would be perfect for the part.
Let's also talk about Deborah Francois, someone I've loved watching ever since The Page Turner. Was she at the top of your list of choices, and what was it that she brought in particular to the role of Valerio that was so ideal?
I think that what I liked with her, I did screen tests with quite a lot of actresses for that part, and when I saw her during the screen test, I was immediately convinced by her, and it's an actress that I've been wanting to work with for quite a while, and I think what was perfect for the part with her is that she has a mixture of innocence and something manipulative, and you never quite know what to believe. Is she really innocent? Is she really in love? Is she just pretending? And that was what I was looking for the part of Valerio.
The Monk is this curious mixture of the Gothic and the surreal. Can you talk about interweaving the two without leaning excessively in one direction?
I think that in that kind of a film, the temptation to overdo it is always there, and to put in too many Gothic or too many surreal elements, and so I think it's all a question of finding the right balance, because it's important that those elements are there, but the important thing should be the characters and the storyline and what happens to them, and they should be fed by all those Gothic or surreal elements, which in a way create the atmosphere where this story can unfold. And so also there it's a question of restraining things and not putting everything on the table, but to use things with a certain delicacy.
There's a lot of surrealistic shots that are quite open for interpretation. There's one in particular I'd like to ask you about. It's during the poison-sucking sex scene Fever Dream. There's a shot where the camera pushes in on one of the stone carvings, and the face has been worn off. What did you want to express with this shot? It seems so prominent in the scene.
Yeah, actually, it's just it's not exactly at that moment, but it was actually one of the hazards of shooting, because when it wasn't something that was written in the script or that was planned, but when we shot in that monastery, at one point I discovered this face without a face, and because the character of Valerio has no face and wears a mask, I wanted to use it, of course, and so at one point there's a scene where you see Valerio looking at this faceless face as a reminder of what has happened to her allegedly. And I like it when it's possible to find also. Of course, you always want to control everything and to know where you're going, but when you find elements that you didn't expect but that fit into the film, to use them. So it's just so I don't know if it has a special meaning apart from the fact that it reminds us of the story that Valerio tells about herself, about having no face, and that's why she's forced to wear a mask.
Could you tell us a bit about writing the dialect of the monk using speech patterns and turn of phrase from a different period? How do you write in the voice of that period outside of just reading the source material?
I think it's a matter of, when you write, of putting yourself in the right mood, and then I also read a lot of sermons that have been written, not necessarily at that time, but also in the 18th century, and to find that way of speaking. But actually, in the dialogue that are not the sermons, or not when he's preaching, it's not. I mean, it's actually quite normal French, even if it's not everyday language, but it's not that sophisticated either. Because for me it was important that people should be able to follow the dialogues without having to make a terrible effort of concentration.
And finally, what are some of the desired reactions you want people to walk away from this film with? What is it that you're trying to evoke or provoke in your audience?
Well, first of all, I'd like them to have the sensation that they have experienced some kind of a dream or of a nightmare that has nothing to do with everyday reality. But then I think that I know that one of the things that interests me most, or that is most important to me in the film, is really the impossible love story between Ambrosio and Antonia, and so I hope that the audience are in a way touched by that by that impossible love story.
So you talked about this impossible love between Ambrosio and Antonia, and for me, I must admit, this seemed to spring almost from nowhere. So am I right in understanding that, having tasted carnality with Valerio, he wants to have it again, but to lessen the offense against God, he must have it with someone outside the monastery?
No, for me it's not that. It's that, well, the fact to have had that sexual experience with Valerio has kind of disturbed him, and I think makes the love story with Antonia possible. And Antonia is someone he has seen before in this premonitory dreams, and so of course she has a special status, and when he meets her for real, he's very disturbed because he has seen her in a dream, and so he knows that she must have a special significance somehow, and of course he doesn't know that she's his sister, but he probably senses it somehow, that she represents the family that he has never known, and so this is why I think one of the reasons he feels attracted to her is that he somehow feels that this is the family he has never known, and the only way for him to express this attraction is the thing he has known with Valerio, which is sex, and so he uses the magic myrtle to be able to do that. But I think that the urge to be with her is much stronger and goes beyond sexual desire, and it has more to do with being reunited with his family, only that through this reunification he destroys of course the family that he has never known and that he finally finds, and that's for me the whole tragedy of his story.
Well, Dominic, I wish you all the best with The Monk, and I really hope you have a great response for your 2 screenings over the weekend here at the festival. Thanks ever so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.